Welcome to Partick Hill Station. Sorry about the earlier problem. I seem to be having ongoing issues with audio. Anyway, I'm going to try and solve that while we go through this process. And you'll see some British Rail locomotives and LMS, London, Midland and Scotland. So let's start running trains here. The one that's going around just now, oh, hang on. So I've got one going up, one going down, and we'll see how it goes. Hi, Peter. I think I still get a little bit of an echo somewhere. I'm trying to resolve it on the fly. So I've been trying for the last couple of hours to get this right. But I can hear a little bit of an echo in the background. So just pulling a few different things out each week and trying to highlight some of the locos and coaches that I've got. And what I've got set up at the moment is I've got an iPhone 6, an iPhone 11, and a webcam. And, last night I changed the locomotives out and, set up new coaches and thought I'd get ready for today. So there's always preparation to be done. Now, I think that's an LMS, Royal Highland Fusiliers. And, see, it's got a coupling on it that's not the same as the Hornby Triang ones. And it's a bit of an issue. But we'll... Anyway, we'll see how it goes. So I hope everybody's doing okay out there, surviving COVID, getting your vaccinations, and hopefully we'll all be able to get out, check out some shows. Thanks, Peter. I'm working on it. It's an ongoing process, as you well know. And just trying to capture the best parts of the layout. I'm going to try and show you something I did in the last week. And it's my scrapyard corrugated iron fence. Just going to bring it over here so you get a better look at it. So I made these little corrugated sheets and painted them up, rusted them, and put a warning on there that everybody would understand to stay out the scrapyard. Hey Fred, good morning, how are you? Or good afternoon, should I say. For some reason, we jumped ahead an hour last week. So my timing was all kind of screwed up. And when I wasn't looking there, I just had a little bit of a derailment. You really have to have eyes in the back of your head. And as I said, that loco is a bit problematic, given that it's got a different type of coupling. I'm just going to bring it around again. Yeah, there's always something to be done. Um, I have a couple of locomotives that require the couplings to be updated or modified. And this is a variety of Triang and Hornby coaches that I've picked up over the years. Yes, Fred, I've got it sorted for the most part. It's not perfect, but it's a work in progress, as they say. And it's always tough trying to position these cameras uh, to get the best out of what we can look at. Yeah, that's a better shot there, I think. Give you a better look at things. Now, over that, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out which hand is which, left from right. So in that corner there, I have that diffuser light that I use when I'm making videos. Just gives a nicer, softer light in here. Oh, Wi-Fi in the shed. That's excellent. Well done. So I hope you've got a constant feed. It's always a problem. You know, here it's quite different because the Wi-Fi is driven through a router that's hooked up to the TV, and we get a pretty strong constant signal that rarely gives us problems. Let's try to see which one is showing my back. I'll try and move that. Yeah, you don't want to see my back. Yeah, there seems to be a sort of dark spot there. You know, I may end up running a few extra wires around the track. Just going to pull this one in here. Well, that's good that you've got that installed. I find the least little thing can set off a derailment or just stops a locomotive. So I've spent a bit of time going around cleaning the track, and I'll probably have to end up continuing that. And behind that princess there, 46201, is, sleeping cars and buffet and restaurant car. Some older Triang Hornby coaches that I've picked up over the years. Yeah, those double socket with the Wi-Fi connection built in are really very good. That Dapol's beginning to pick up a bit of speed. It's been in a box like a lot of stuff here for a number of years, and just beginning to get run in because it's nearly brand new. Well, Fred, it's a daunting task to do the live stream because there's so many issues. It should be simple enough. Send a message by email to your camera if you're using an iPhone or some other camera that can receive email. Just accept it and then enter into the broadcast. In terms of DSLRs, if you can plug them into your computer, that works too. And I've got a Canon EOS M with a nice 22-28 millimeter lens that I might try one time. I'll probably go in and do a test on it at some point. So there's lots of options for people, and it's a great way to reach out and communicate with fellow enthusiasts. Now, the one question I have for everyone is, in terms of parts, who would be your source? I mean, I understand that Peter Spears is one of them. Is there anybody else that you would recommend? Because there's a few things I have to get that are just not available here. I need to get that new card for my Pandolino, as well as a couple of pickups for my DMU, and maybe a couple of odds and ends that I just haven't listed at the moment. and I'd like to buy them all at one location if possible, to save on the cost of postage. Well, yeah, Fred, the only way to find out is do it. You can do a test, set it up and do the test, and then go live. Now, the interesting thing about doing these live broadcasts, now, could you maybe tell me how you're accessing this? Are you doing it through the MRYCG Facebook page, or are you on YouTube? Because that's kind of important to know. Yeah, see, I don't have a model shop here. It's, I think I told you, it's once a year or once every other year that there's a British model railway show. So, I will use Peter Spears if that's the sort of preferred shop to go to. Oh, hi, Paul and John. Nice to see you here. Yeah, it's interesting because right now there are 4 people watching. And I believe that is through some connection you've got with StreamYard, because like Peter is on YouTube now as well, and when I go into YouTube after the fact, I'll find that there's 30 or 40 people have watched it, but I don't see that. I only see that there are 4 people on the chat right now. Now, as I've told you, I've done, maybe a couple of hundred YouTube videos, and not all about trains. Sometimes it's about art that I do, or traveling, or renting a nice vehicle somewhere, or other hobbies, going to Comic-Con. Yeah, see, Facebook, I've noticed that there's been a number of items available on Facebook, Paul. And it may be something that I should try, because I've bought quite a bit over the years from eBay and from guys in the UK, and it's always worked out really well. However, recently, and I've mentioned it before, I've had issues with postage costs, and I think it's driven by eBay themselves, because there was a bit of fiddling going around by some folks who would order an item, then say they never received it and ask for a refund. So I get it, why people are having to add in the cost of signing and insurance. I'll need to explore the Facebook page, the marketplace on Facebook, because I've got a number of things here that I think I'd like to sell, and I've got 3 or 4 of those Dew F Mark III coaches, and they're pretty long, and I think they're maybe just a little bit too long for this layout, and so they would be among the first that I would put up for sale. PCS chat on here, not so easy. Yeah, swapping. And, you can only run so many trains at a time. And, I'm still in the throes of thinking what I'm going to do. If, in fact, I'm going to put 2 elevated tracks up there. If I do that, I think it's going to get a little bit more complicated. So I have thought about removing that foam on those 3 sides and just putting an extra loop in there, and that would also give me an opportunity to add in some sidings for those trains going in that opposite direction, because for the down line here, or the up line, whatever one it is, on the inside loop, I've got access to the main track, but I don't have a way of turning around locomotives, and that's the hand of God that does that, and I'd like to get away from that process. Yeah, see, there's 6 people and always asleep. I guess you're awake now. Good of you to join us. That's 6 people that are chatting, but who knows how many are on YouTube. So how is the weather over there? Here it's clear blue skies, and it's warming up a bit. It's been fluctuating from about 5 or 6 degrees up to 11 or 13, and I think we're past the worst of the cold weather now. Although, 9 watching on YouTube. Yeah, see, there you go. So, yeah, we may get dumped on before the end of April, and that happens often. And that would be the last hurrah for my snowblower. Anyway, that Black 5, it runs terrific, as does the Princess. I like the older locos as well, but they just take a little bit more service. I may have shown you this before. Now that's a turbo that I've been working on. I saw an article on an old copy of Model Railway, a Railway Modeler, whichever one it was, and they described how you can take an old Princess and turn it into a turbo. So I've got most of the hard work done, and we'll see where it takes me after that. But it's been sitting up on the shelf for some time, just waiting to be totally rescued. And just get this into view here. Yeah, there you go. So that is my corrugated iron fence that I built in the last couple of days, and weathered it, put a bit of graffiti on it for some of those rogues that are in there trying to steal parts or some lead that they can sell somewhere else. Anyway, it's scale-wise, the sheets would represent about 8 feet by approximately 3 feet wide, and I made those corrugations myself. Now on this camera, the webcam, it doesn't really focus too well. I'll switch over. Yeah, you can see there, maybe a bit clearer. Just let that one go by. Yeah, so all of those corrugations were made individually. Well, each sheet was made individually. And then I painted it up, weathered it. So that adds to my scrapyard, and we'll see how that one goes. It's the state of development like everything else around here. Erase the hashtag. Yeah, I'll check that out, John. Well, I'm on Instagram as well, but I use Instagram for sketches and different stuff. I think I've got nearly 1,200 followers on Instagram. If you get 1,000 followers on YouTube, which I don't have, you can monetize and earn a couple of pennies, let's say, through whichever advertising you can attract. Andrew, how's it going? Good to see you. We're just talking about monetization. So I think I've got about 610 followers on YouTube, and it's a long way to get to 1,000. I doubt very much if it'll ever happen. But at 1,000, you get that silver plaque. You've got 3. That's great. 3 is a great beginning. Look, the first one that I did, it had to have been 9 years ago when YouTube was in its infancy. And Joanne and I were in Hawaii for the first time. And I had wanted to rent a Mustang convertible. Oh, that's great, John. It's really phenomenal how you can grow a channel, and that's what I'm talking about. So I did this YouTube video of this Chrysler convertible that I had, and I made a big thing about the small trunk or boot that it has, that, you know, don't get off the plane in Hawaii or LAX with two other people and 4 suitcases, because you'll never get them in. Because it's a totally different design from the Mustang. In the Mustang, there's so much more space in the trunk or the boot. And I comment on that whenever I rent another car, and I've done so with a Ford Mustang convertible that we rented, and I've got another one in the pipeline. So, you know, they get quite a number of views, and the videos I made following Champs 123 and his excellent video on converting the Triang controllers, I did my own one of it, followed his instructions, and I had over 11,000 views. I mean, it was amazing. So you can never tell what's going to work and what's not. I mean, my daughter, her name is Kristen, and she's an interior designer. She's got a degree in that, and she's got her own channel, and she's got over 800,000 subscribers, and her boyfriend's got millions. His name is Christian Del Grosso, and he just recently made a movie which will be coming out next month. So they've cracked the YouTube thing, and you know what Kristen recommended to me was, if you want to grow your channel, and a few people have said this, focus on one subject instead of doing model making, travel, car rental, tours downtown, chats, etc., etc. Focus on one thing. So at that time, I was sort of entering the model railway arena with little YouTube videos of how I was progressing with the layout, and I decided, well, I'm going to make a larger effort here, because I know that there are like-minded people out there who are interested, and I'm interested in what they're doing. So that brought me to MRYCG and the larger model railway community. And while I've not had a substantial growth in the channel, I've been creeping up there. And I know that when I remember a few years ago on Instagram, I went from a few hundred subscribers to 1,100. It was just phenomenal. But I was sketching every day and posting and doing different stuff in terms of art and concept art about the movies and all this kind of stuff. And there's a big community for that, especially here in North America. And, you know, I went to San Diego to Comic-Con, and I'd make videos, live videos about that. So I got a fair bit of attention on it. Yeah, you know, I've got nearly 1,200 subscribers on Instagram, it's a whole different marketplace. C&M models in Carlisle. Yeah, C&M, I'll have a look, I'll make a note and have a look at that. Rob Johnson is up in Carlisle. Should ask him about C&M. Rob Johnson, there you are. Just speaking about you and you popped up. Yeah, I just saw the C&M at first and then I looked down again and there you were, John. Rob, sorry. Yeah, hey, Rob, I saw your email and I did respond. I mean, that is phenomenal work you're doing there with that tree. Really very, very talented and different from my attempts, as I said. Yeah, Fred, it's funny. You know, the next thing I'm doing now is it was my birthday yesterday, and my birthday present, the big one was one of those cricket makers. And now, if you're not familiar with cricket, it's basically a machine that you can cut things on automatically. You can do a drawing of a building, let's say, and you can send the data just like you would on a 3D printer. You can send the data. Well, thanks, John. Donegal, Dad, how are you, Mark? So you can send the data as you do with a 3D printer and send it to the maker, and you insert the material that you want to cut, and it will cut exactly what you have drawn out on the computer, let's say. So if you do a little CAD drawing of a building, it will cut it out perfectly. And then if you want to match, let's say, plastic card or balsa wood, if you want to match it with brick paper, you can put the brick paper in, use the same file, and it will cut exactly what you need to cover that plastic card building. So it's a whole different arena that I'm going to be exploring. And, you know, you can do stuff for T-shirts. I've got a few ideas for that. Maybe take some of my artwork and print it out and then put it onto T-shirts. And I've done that before. I did a couple of paintings of HMS Hood and HMS Duke of York, and I put them on to T-shirts and gave them away to people, right? And a couple of cars. So it's just getting the time and effort to do all this stuff that you're interested in. Oh, Fred, it's called Cricut, CRICUT. You should check it out. There's basically two models. There's one called the Cricut Air 2, which you can get for $200 or $300 here, and then the Cricket Maker, which is the more expensive one, and that goes for between $400 and $500. But real interesting technology, and you can do transfers. So if you want to put transfers onto locomotives or coaches, you can print them out and cut them out on these machines. Yeah, Rob, I'm going to check that out after this. Did you use clay to model the trunks? So, Mark, I've got an iPhone 6 and an iPhone 11 going here along with the webcam. There is still a little bit of an echo coming from somewhere, but I'll get that sorted. Um, Bit of a bad point there. Yeah. Always a little bit of a rattle somewhere. Oh, disaster, major derailment. All it takes is one, and everything else goes off the track. And it could be for a number of reasons. Um, Yeah, maybe have to go through and check out some of these points just to make sure that yeah, there's one of them there. And of course, a number of these, oh, hang on, I've got a loose one here. Some of these coaches have got the plastic wheels where you cannot adjust them, and as a result, they don't always ride through a point very well. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. So as I was saying earlier, I might end up taking down those three sides and just putting an extra track in. I'm not sure. I'll have to think about it. But the whole idea of trying to catalogue what I have, and as you can see, probably just like all of you guys have got numerous coaches and numerous locomotives, um, and probably more than you can put out at any one time, and it becomes increasingly challenging. Uh, especially when you go to a model railway show and you go, oh, I like that, and you buy something else. And then it's a case of, well, if I buy that locomotive, I need a couple of matching coaches, and so on and so forth. And before you know it, you've got another problem trying to store stuff. Most when I gather it, when walking the dogs, and microwave it for 2 minutes. Yeah, that sounds like a fairly good idea. Oh. Well, it's like the trees that I make here. Yeah, I've got a big problem there with these. As I said, with the trees that I make, as an example, this one and the one up on the street, I just pulled them out of the garden and sprayed them with hairspray, and then started adding colour flock to it. And before I knew it, it was getting these nice little bushes and trees. Just get something else out here. Go back into that one. Yeah. Yeah, so that Dapol is beginning to whine a little bit. Probably needs a little bit of oil. And of course, that then brings me to the subject of the brass cogs for the A4s. I need to order a couple of those because I have some A4s that are not doing very well. And as Barry Davis pointed out, it's an easy fix. You know, don't throw them out or get rid of them. So that's on the list that I have to make. I think I'll just give that a rest and clean it up before next time. Let's see. So what time is it over there right now? Because here it's 10 after 1. I'm assuming that you've jumped ahead and it would be 10 after 4 local time. Yeah, just had a... Yeah, when you mix up the older Triang coaches with the sort of, let's say, fairly modern Hornbys, you do get a bit of a problem with the wheels and couplings. I'm not sure what happened here, but not always impressed with these Ringfield motors. You know, when they run They generally run, okay, 10 after 5. Okay, yeah. So you jump forward an hour. Or will that be, that will be next week? Yeah, next week. Yeah, as I say, the Ringfield motors do need a bit of TLC. Some time ago, I came across this Hornby Dapol, the Duchess of Atholl. Now it's pretty roughed up. It's got no gear on it, but it's in original condition. Not quite sure what to do with it. I haven't even taken the body off to see if the motor will still run, but it's very heavy. I found it in the bottom of a box at a show. So maybe what I'll do is I'll post a few things on the MRYCG sales swap market and see if there's any interest. And, you know, I will warn people before they commit to the fact that postage might be an issue, and that if they were comfortable with surface mail, then I would follow through on the sale. Because I think right now it's taking just sort of upwards of 2 weeks for airmail to get across the pond. And in fact, I sent something to Rob the other day via airmail, and I just received a package from my sister-in-law that she sent just over 2 weeks ago by air. So 2 weeks for that might be 4 or 5 weeks for surface. And I think the increased costs come in when you start insuring the items. Yeah, so I think I've got a triang. I think I've got a triang here, a coach that just doesn't like the one set of points, and it throws everything else off. And it's the sleeping car on this rake here. And the other thing, of course, is everything I've got here is manual. I've got manual points because I never really thought about installing electric points, and I got a few of them here, but I just never got around to installing them. And then the other question is about digital, and I was chatting with Mark. So I'll just show this. So I picked this up years ago from Hatton's, I think it was, and I need the 15-volt plug, but I have to find the right one. And I've got a couple of chips. So I might make the quantum leap into the digital. And it was suggested that maybe try it out on a diesel first, because of course there's more room on the diesel. So I might just do that. So Fred, how many turnouts do you have? Yeah, that's a little spot there on that point, I think, that's causing the loco to stop. Here's that little 040 shunter, well, pug, and I think I told you I scratch built that wagon tender, put some coal in it and a bicycle, and that helps it go a little bit further. Nice little runner, and it was one of these things that I got from the Hornby club. 18 sets of points. Yeah, I don't have 18, but 1, 2, 3, 4. I maybe get a dozen or so. And as I've said, at this other end here, I'm just going to move this camera. You can see that I've got a loop coming around here, and some loco sidings were planned in here, but I haven't really done anything about it, and still have that gap in there. Um, Between this siding loop and the downline there. Oh. Well, Fred, I can't see myself converting all of my locos. It's just a huge expense. But what I might do is have a couple of locos that will run on DCC, and I might use just one track, a kind of dedicated track, and that's probably the best way out. Yeah, I'll need to have a look at that, Rob, and see what you're doing there. But you've got a very complex layout. You must have been working on it for years to get it to where it is now. It's amazing. Well, how many of you? So there's 7 of you on there right now. How many of you broadcast on YouTube? It's always nice to see what everybody else is doing. And like I've jumped into the Monday Club, and I think there's been a few people posted their sites on there, but sort of flies by too quickly for me to start making a list. But uh, get up in the mornings. I like to throw YouTube on and see what everybody's doing, and always try to catch Mark when he's uh, got his trains running. And I watch Chadwick. I like what Charlie does, um, and a few others. And the guys at Bluffers to Buffers, I mean, I really like what they're doing. They've got great graphics and presentation for their YouTube and their Instagram account. And, in terms of that scrapyard, I got a few ideas. that was running out of power there, so I had to get the cable plugged back in again. So, yeah, I guess it's, yeah, Fred, those two guys, Bob and Ben, I thought it was Bill and Ben, the Flower Pot Men, when I first came across them. They're very entertaining, and they feed off each other. So, yeah, they've got great ideas and they're building a great looking layout there. And they've got some guy who does most of the paint jobs for them, who does wonderful weathering and such like. But yeah, I always look forward to their chit chat and their posts. Very entertaining. And as I said earlier, I got a couple of good ideas from them, because I'm sure they've got a corrugated fence around their scrapyard, and they've got a couple of scrap bins, and I built my own. I've got my own scrap bin that I made and posted on YouTube and Instagram, and that loco that I weathered up, the B12. Yeah, this one here. It was broken. I found it at a show and weathered it up. So lots you can do. And then there's another guy, Bunter's Yard. I think he's in Southend. I've actually been at Southend and Lee-on-Sea. I had some friends that lived in Basildon. People that live here but originally from Basildon. And I went over with them one year, stayed with them for a week, or their parents for a week, and then we drove around a few different places down there, Southend-on-Sea and Lee-on-Sea, and all these places. Nice part of the country. But yeah, Bunter's Yard, he does some interesting stuff too. Rob, what are you saying about points, clips, transfer the current? Yeah, one track feed, yeah. But do you have a bus wire running around, or you just have one feed going in from your controller on each track? And I actually get rid of those banners just to free up some more space. That was Jason that pointed out the best way to approach that. So in a couple of weeks' time, I'm going to be doing the 6 p.m. slot for that 24-hour global broadcast. And I'm glad I've just about got this audio stuff solved. I'm still getting a very slight echo from one of the iPhones, but I'll have that nailed by the time that comes around. That'll be interesting, because I think I I'm either on before or after Mark, so we'll have to do the introductions there. Still no sound. Sound returned, okay. Anyway, guys, look, it's now about 1:30 here in Toronto. I think it's time to sign off and let's let you guys get on with some other activities on your own layout or maybe your own YouTube site, and thank everybody else on YouTube who have tuned in. Really appreciate it. It helps me develop the broadcasts and iron out some issues that I might not be aware of. So thanks very much from Partick Hill Station, and we'll see you next time. I'll just let this run out for a while. And people on YouTube, really appreciate you joining in. And remember to give me a like for this. Thanks very much. And we'll see you next time. Thanks, John. Bye, Fred. See you, Rob.